Durban CBD after foreign nationals retaliated when locals tried to loot their shops. Hundreds of people across the greater Ethekwini Municipality have now been forced to flee to escape attacks and looting over the past week. Mbuso Mkhize is in the CBD. This morning, looting was also reported in KwaZulu-Natal, north of Durban. Last night, a group of men attacked a shop owned by Ethiopians, in which a shootout ensued, leading to the Ethiopians fleeing the scene. More police officers are being deployed to the affected areas. 5 people have been killed since the violence started. Most recently, an Ethiopian national was burnt alive when a mob threw in a petrol bomb into his shop in Umlazi, south of Durban. Most countries say they are preparing to repatriate their citizens. For more on this story, we are joined on the line by our reporter Ayanda Mhlongo, who is in Durban. Ayanda, a very good afternoon to you. Please confirm to us please confirm the kidnapping allegations that apparently 3 people were abducted by the mob yesterday. What happened there? We also hear that violence has now spread to the city. Tell us more about that.
Good afternoon. In fact, I think maybe let me start with the city of Durban, which is under siege. The violence started in the main street, West Street, between locals and the foreign nationals. They were throwing stones from everything, and then they started shooting each other. The violence then quickly spread down the CBD to the workshop area, and then moved on to the Point area and along the Durban beachfront. We hear that there are scores of people that are injured. I cannot confirm yet how many people and whether or not there have been any fatalities. Many of them have been rushed to Durban hospitals. The city of Durban was under complete lockdown by police, and police had advised that people not come into the city center, and traffic was being redirected. Basically, I tell you, police are all over the city of Durban. They've also asked for additional police officers now coming in from areas outside of Durban, from Port Shepstone to Nelspruit, to come in and assist. At the moment, I'm also in a police armored vehicle because it is no longer safe for us and the journalists as well to be filming out in the streets. Police are trying to keep the foreigners and the locals apart. So basically, there is a standoff. You've got the police in the one in the middle. You've got the locals, and then you have the foreign nationals. I tell you, Alicia, the situation is very, very volatile here in the Durban CBD. We also then asked about the kidnapping of the 3 Ethiopians at Nduzuma yesterday night. Yes, I can confirm we got that from the leadership of the Ethiopians, telling us that the 3 have been kidnapped, and at the moment they do not know where they are. I just checked in a couple of minutes ago as well whether or not they had any word from those missing foreigners, and they have said no, and in fact they are fearing for their safety at the moment. So it is absolute chaos, not only in the city of Durban, but also out in the suburbs, both south, in the west, and the north of Durban.
Just to go back, Ayanda, what came out of that meeting with the King and the security cluster ministers?
Alicia, I was mostly concentrated here in the city of Durban. I know that meeting started yesterday evening. In fact, members of the media were not allowed then, but earlier on this morning there was then a press briefing by the Minister of Home Affairs, as well as the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, just talking about measures that they are going to put in place to ensure that they try to bring stability and to ensure that these attacks stop. There was also meetings with the leadership of the foreign nationals from the different countries, also to try and find ways to try and end this violence, which has now become more vicious and more brutal.
Ayanda, what is the latest on the repatriation of some of the remains of the Ethiopians that were killed during the violence? We understand you also attended the memorial that was organized earlier. Tell us more.
Alicia, I was actually, in fact, on my way to that memorial service when we came across the clashes in the Durban CBD, along with the leaders of the Ethiopian or foreigners coming from Ethiopia, I beg your pardon. And we eventually weren't able to make it there because we were caught in the middle. They too were not able to get to that memorial service. In fact, I understand now that it has to be cancelled, and the bodies, I can confirm, are now on their way. They were going to be flown from King Shaka Airport, making their way back home, and they'll be buried in Ethiopia.
All right, thanks for that. That's Ayanda Mhlongo, SABC reporter, live to us from Durban in KZN, giving us the latest on the attacks on foreign nationals.